But I saw, you know what's funny is I saw Larry Summers wrote a review of your book. And I don't know if people know, Larry Summers is considered one of the smartest guys in the world, except he's been wrong about everything, always and forever. And he still gets to review your book, even though you're right about almost everything, and he's wrong about everything, and he's caused enormous pain in people's lives, at no pain to himself, by the way. But yet he still gets to review books in the New York Times. And how come there's no accountability anymore for the elite in the world?
Well, it's pretty simple. You know, this is Natim Taleb's got a new book on this one, and it's called Skin in the Game. There's no skin in the game. So let's go away from economics and think about foreign policy. So our foreign policy under Bush we're beginning with Clinton, but most seriously under Bush, and then continued with Obama. Obama's more of a disappointment than an accelerator in this one. We've lit up every country from Afghanistan to Tunisia and back again with no end game in sight. And our decision not to do dumb things has devolved to basically doing predator drone strikes, as we do kind of like whack-a-mole in countries, right? Now, what's our skin in the game on this, right? I mean, there's a psychological damage to the guy that's killing people remotely. But beyond that, you know, we just go about our lives. You know, people's wedding parties by mistake and apologize, and then we do the same thing next week. There's no skin in the game. There's no accountability. So you think about the entire foreign policy elite that's grown up under those administrations. They were all just sitting waiting for Hillary to get elected so that they could just have their next promotion and carry on as usual.
Yeah.
They only talk to each other. The reason they couldn't see Trump coming, and the reason they couldn't see Brexit coming, and the reason they couldn't see the National Front coming in France is because they only ever talk to each other. And inside that bubble, everything's fine. And they don't. I'll give you a little example of this, right? I gave a talk once it was outside of Brown, let's say. I won't mention the place, but it was another university. And I said, so how many of you guys are seniors? Put their hands up. How many of you are going to Cleveland when you graduate? None. Right? So, you know, there's this disconnected elite that basically enriches itself and cares about itself. It's not a false claim. It's not a bullshit claim. It's, you know, and people within that elite are saying, oh, you're terrible for saying this, and I'm a good person, and I would like to pay higher taxes, and I voted for Bernie and all the rest of it. And it's like, well, that's nice that you feel that way individually, but collectively, you're not doing enough to actually make that a reality.
So what do you think? So how does Greece end? I know we're jumping around a little bit, but
it doesn't. It just stays a ward of the Eurozone until the Eurozone ends.
So I just don't. I can't believe that that's happening in Greece, especially when they had a left. So, but what happened in Greece? Could you just tell us basically what happened real quickly in Greece?
Oh, we kind of got into it. I mean, they don't have a print. Look, okay, there was definitely fault on the Greek side. Look, this is how Greece ran since the colonels came out in '73 when they ended the military dictatorship. There was a right-wing coalition and a left-wing coalition, and they took turns stealing the state and distributing it to their mates. When that ran out, the EU gave them money. And then when they got in the euro through the back door by hiring Goldman Sachs to lie about the accounts, right, that basically they had a huge budget deficit. Nobody was paying taxes relative to what was being claimed. When a government came in 2010 and said, all right, time to fess up. Our budget deficit is really twice what we said, and it was already 6%. It's now 12%. Global markets went, really? That means you're bankrupt. You have euro-denominated debt. Why am I holding this shit? If they dumped all those Greek bonds to cover those losses, they would need to sell something else. Who else looks kind of iffy? Portuguese. Dump the Portuguese. You dump the Portuguese, you dump the Greeks, you dump the Irish next. Welcome to the pigs. Problem, the next one you come to is Spain. Spain's too big to dump. If all those contracts hit the floor at one time, you'd blow up the Eurozone. So what happened was the Eurozone turned around and said, hey, Greece, we're going to give you a bunch of loans. You're going to round trip them and hand them right back to those banks to make sure that they're solvent. And then you're going to slash your budget to pay for it. And we're going to continue this until the pain stops, which is never.
So, I mean, so everyone knows that it's forever and it's never going to stop. Why do people agree to do this stuff?
Well, what's the alternative?
I don't know. What is the alternative?
You know, from the point of view of like Jerome Dijsselbloem, the head of the Eurogroup finance ministers, what should they have done? Should they have known that it would have ended this way? Nobody has clairvoyance. If they could have avoided it, they would have. Given the rules of the Eurozone and the way the whole thing's structured and the fact that nobody has a printing press, it was hard for them to do anything else. My argument is the ECB could have basically bought the Greek debt that was subject to what's called rollover risk and stuck it on the ECB's balance sheet and hidden it. That's essentially what the Fed did with a bunch of stuff here. It's not very nice, but it works. But at that time, the ECB was run by a guy called Trichet, who really thought that the only job in the world was to fight inflation, even in the middle of a deflation, to the point that he raised interest rates twice in 2011 as the whole European economy was deflating. I mean, talk about an ideological response. So basically, they had a bunch of people that were intellectually and institutionally ill-equipped to fight a fire they didn't understand. So they applied treatments which made the patient worse. The more criticism they got, the more they doubled down on it. And when they finally realized it was a total mistake, it was too late to do anything about it.